Right, so we are live. Just give me 2 seconds there to share this presentation. Right, so welcome to the video series on the membership area of the website. In this on this membership site, you're going to find access to everything you need to completely transform not only your body and your physical health, but your mind and your mental health also. So the first thing that we'll do, first exercise, or the first presentation is going to be on goal setting. And this is very, very important, whether it's a goal in regards to your health, or a generalized goal. So, a goal in regards to any other area of your life. Pinning this down and doing this right will determine whether or not we actually achieve our goal. So, this is what we're going to discuss now. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you a couple of exercises to do. Before we start anything, make sure you get a pen, you get your journal out, and you take notes as we go along, and you actually put into practice the exercises that I'm going to share at the end of this presentation before you move on to the next video, which will be on motivation. So goal setting, it's very, very important to be crystal clear on exactly what it is you want to achieve over the next 6 weeks. If you're not clear on what it is you want to achieve, um, I might be able to help you get to a destination that you will be happy with in 6 weeks' time. So let's say, for example, I'm a taxi driver. Now, I'm not this taxi driver. I don't look like him. I'm in better shape. I like to think I don't have as many grey hairs on my chest. But anyways, let's say I'm a taxi driver. I'm driving down the road. You put out your hand, you jump in the back of the taxi, and I ask you, where do you want to go? And you say, I'm not too sure on the name of the destination. I'm unclear on where exactly it is I want to get to, but I have a fair idea. If you drop me into town, I'll be able to direct you as soon as we get onto O'Connell Street, let's say. So I say, grand, 20 minutes pass, we get onto O'Connell Street. I say, where do we go from here? We drive, you say, drive up to the end of the road, take a right, and drive for 5 minutes. I think it's up that way. So I say, grand, no problem. We drive up the road for 5 minutes. I turn around and I say to you, where do we go from here? And they say, I think it's up to the left. So we take a left turn, another 5 minutes pass. I turn around to say, where do we go from here? You say, bollocks. I think we're at the going the wrong way. It's back down the other end of the road. So we turn around, 10 minutes pass, we get to the destination that you wanted to arrive at, but you were unsure of, which was, let's say, Parnell Street. Now, because you are unclear on the destination, on the name of the destination, because your destination was vague, it took us 40 minutes to get there and it cost you €30. Now, let's say if you had got into that taxi and said, I asked you, where do you want to go? And you say Parnell Street, I say grand. I type that into my GPS system. The GPS system maps out a route that will get us there in the quickest time frame possible. We get there in 20 minutes as opposed to 40, and it costs us €15 as opposed to 30, all because you were clear on the destination you wanted to get there, because you knew exactly where you wanted to go, you knew the name of it, and you saved time and you saved money. That analogy can be used when it comes to getting into good shape as well. If you're unclear on exactly what it is you want to achieve, I'm not going to be able to map out a route that will get you there in the quickest, get you to where you want to get, or where you would be happy getting to in the quickest time frame possible, because I don't actually know where you want to get there. So it's completely the same. If you say to me, yeah, this is exactly what I want to achieve, I'll be able to figure out a plan that will get you there in the quickest time frame possible. As a result of doing so, it's going to save you time and money. So when we're clear on our goals, when we're completely clear on exactly what it is we want to achieve and when we want to achieve it by, what that enables us to do is to break our goals down into weekly targets. So if you have a well-defined and determined goal, let's say for the next 6 weeks, if you're crystal clear on exactly what you want to achieve, you'll be able to break that down into weekly targets. You will also be able to create an effective plan to ensure that you actually hit those weekly targets. And let's say in the initial stages, in the first week, 2 weeks, you're not actually on point, you're not hitting those targets. And because we have targets, we'll know that we're on track or we're not on track. And because we'll know that we're not on track, we'll be able to readjust the plan until it gets us on track. As a result of being clear on exactly what we want to achieve and having weekly targets and actually hitting those weekly targets, we're going to build motivation each week. We're also going to achieve our goal in the quickest time frame possible, and we're going to save money. So what lack of clarity doesn't enable us to do? We can't break our goals down into weekly targets if we don't have clear goals to begin with. And if we don't have clear goals or weekly targets, we can't create an effective plan to ensure that we actually hit weekly targets. If we don't have weekly targets, we can't create any plan at all. You know what I mean? The plan will be very vague. Um, and also, as a result of not having weekly targets, you won't know in the initial stages whether or not you're on track. And if you don't know whether or not you're on track, you won't be able to readjust anything. You might think you're on track if you're not, even although you're not on track. You know what I mean? Also, motivation. If you don't have weekly targets and you don't have anything to measure your progress by, you're not going to build motivation each week. Let's say you have a well-determined goal, and your goal is to lose £1 a week. If you hit that in the first week, your motivation is going to go up for the next week. If you hit it again the next week, your motivation is going to go up again the next week. And if your motivation continues to go up, that will have a positive impact on your efforts, which will mean you're going to put in more of an effort. The more your motivation builds up, you're going to put in more of an effort, which in turn will result in you achieving your goal in the quickest time frame possible and saving yourself a few bob. So here's a vague example. Let's say I sit down with you and I ask you, what is your goal? And you turn around to me and you say, I want to lose weight. So that's the destination you want to get. You want to get there. You want to lose weight. It's very vague. It's unclear. It's not very clear at all. As a result of having a vague destination or a vague goal to get there, you won't be able to break it down into weekly targets. So you're not going to have any weekly targets or milestones to reinforce whether or not you're actually on the right track. And as a result of not having a clear goal or weekly targets, your plan is also going to be very vague. So the roadmap will resemble getting into a taxi and not knowing the name of the location you want to get there. We're going to drive all around the world until we get to where it is that we want to get there. As a result of that, right there, I'm at having skipping one there. Hold on 2 seconds. So yeah, as a result of having vague goals, and we won't be able to create an effective plan. It'll be hard to do. If we don't have an effective plan, the progress will be slow if we make any at all. And if our progress is slow or we're not making any progress, our motivation levels are going to decrease each week. And if that happens sooner rather than later, we're going to give up. So let's use a clear example. Let's say I cloned you. You and your clone want to get to the same destination. You're unclear on exactly what that destination looks like or the name of it. Your clone, on the other hand, is crystal clear on exactly what that location looks like and the name of it as well. So I asked your clone, what is your goal? She says, I want to lose £6 in 6 weeks. That's the destination she wants to arrive at in 6 weeks. I say, grand. Because she's crystal clear on the end result that she wants to achieve, that can be broken down into weekly targets, which would be £1 each week. So that would be the milestone, £1 each week. Now, if we have a clear goal in mind and we break it down into weekly targets, we'll be able to create a very, very effective plan to help us do that. So your clone, the plan that I'd give your clone would get to, first and foremost, figure out how many calories your body needs and burns each day. Let's say it's 2,000. I'd drop our calories by 2,000 or by 250, and I get her to increase our day-to-day levels of physical activity to ensure that she burns 250 extra calories. So that'd be 500 calories in total. As they say, there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. So 500 calories each day, 500 times 7 is 3,500. That will equal to £1 of fat each week. So that's a very, very effective and solid plan. So as a result of having a clear goal, weekly targets, and an effective plan, that will, if we're on track with that plan, we're going to hit those targets each week. As a result of hitting those targets, our motivation levels are going to increase. As a result of our motivation levels increase, we're going to put in more of an effort. If we put in more of an effort, we're going to make quicker and better progress. So it's very, very important. Keep that in mind and keep the taxi driver example in mind. So if you get into a taxi and the taxi driver asks you where do you want to go and you're unsure of that, it's going to take you a long time to get there and you're going to spend a lot of money. On the other hand, if you know the exact name of the location, he's going to find the quickest. If he's a genuine taxi driver and he's not trying to rob you blind, he'll figure out what the best route for you to take is. And you'll follow that route. As a result, you're going to get there in the quickest time frame possible, and you're going to save yourself a few bob. So what I want you to do now in your journal, before you move on to the next video on motivation, you're going to clearly define your goal. So first things first, think about your goal, gain clarity on it, and write it down in your journal. So even if your if let's say your goal is to lose 3 stone over the next 6 weeks, don't worry about that. It's impossible to achieve, or 3 stone in 6 months. You're not going to achieve that in 6 weeks. Don't just write down your goal for the 6 weeks. Write down your main goal. What do you want to achieve in total? So once you write that down, you're going to break it down into weekly targets over the next 6 weeks. So let's say, as I said, your goal is to lose 3 stone within the next 6 months. If you were to break that down into weekly targets between now and the 6 months period, you'd have to lose 1.75 pounds per week. That would be 7 pounds a month. If you multiply that by 6 months, that would be 3 stone. So once you clearly determine and write down what your goal is, your main goal, your long-term goal is, you're going to break it down into weekly targets and squeeze it into the 6 weeks window that you're going to be training with yourself. Once you set your weekly target, consult with myself. Once you've determined your goal, you set a weekly target, bring those to me, get in touch with myself, consult with myself, and I'll create an effective plan to ensure that you hit those weekly targets. Step 4, let's say you consult with me tomorrow, I give you a plan to hit your weekly target. Let's say I check in with you next week and you haven't hit your weekly target. That will mean the plan is off somewhat. So what I'll do is I'll readjust that. We'll work on readjusting it. And then for the next week, get you to follow the plan, and we'll keep readjusting it until you hit your weekly target. So all you're doing here is figuring out what works, increasing that, so put more of an effort into that, and figuring out what doesn't work and eliminating it. So that's basically that. I'm going to quickly recap through the video. Taxi driver analogy: you jump into a taxi, you don't know the name of the location you want to get to. It's going to take you much longer to get there. You're going to spend more money. And you can probably hear me dog barking in the background. Never mind it. Let's say on the other hand, you get into a taxi and you say, taxi driver, I want to get to Parnell Street. It's going to take you 20 minutes to get there. It's going to cost you €15. If you don't know the name of that location, it could take you 40 minutes. You're going to spend twice the amount of money that will take it. So we need to be crystal clear on our goals. What that will enable us to do is to break our goals down into weekly targets, create an effective plan to ensure that we actually hit the weekly targets, readjust that plan if we don't hit our weekly targets in the initial stages of our transformation. It will also allow us to build motivation each week and achieve our overall goal in the quickest time frame possible and save money also. What lack of clarity doesn't enable us to do is basically the opposite of what I said just there. If we don't have clarity on our goals, we can't break them down into weekly targets. We can't create an effective plan to ensure that we actually achieve a long-term goal. And we can't make any readjustments because we don't know what to measure. Our motivation levels are going to go down as opposed to go up. It's going to take us a long time to achieve our goal, and we're going to spend more money. So the vague example: you want to lose weight, weekly target, no weekly target. Your plan is very vague as a result of having an unclear plan or an unclear goal. You can't create an effective plan. If you don't have an effective plan, it's going to take you longer to make progress if you make any at all. And if you're not making any progress or your progress is slow, your motivation levels are going to decrease each week and you're eventually going to give up. Clear example: you want to lose 6 pounds within 6 weeks, broken down into weekly targets. That would be 1 pound per week. Your plan to do that would be each day you drop your calories by 250 and burn 250 through increased activity. That's a total of 500 calories. You multiply that by 7, that's 3,500 calories. There's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat, which will mean you will burn 1 pound of fat each week. That will have a positive impact on your motivation levels. Each week your motivation levels are going to go up, and the more your motivation levels go up, the more effort you're going to put in. The more effort you put in, the quicker and the better your progress will be. How to do it effectively, how to set your goals and break them down into weekly targets. First and foremost, create clarity. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in the next 6 weeks? Once you gain clarity on it, you're going to write it down. Or not 6 weeks, your overall goal. So whatever that is, it could be 3 stone within 6 months. Write down exactly what you want to achieve in total. Number 2, set your weekly target. So once you figured out the number, whether it's stone or whether it's dress size or whether it's inches, whatever it may be, break that down into weekly targets. And those weekly targets will what you will aim to hit each week over the next 6 weeks. So once you follow step 2, you set your weekly targets, you come to me, I create an effective plan to help you hit those weekly targets. You're more than likely going to hit those weekly targets as soon as you start. But if you don't, you come back to me, we readjust it until the plan ensures that you hit your weekly target. So that's basically that. Next video is on motivation. Very, very, very important. Again, when you go on to, make sure you have a pen in hand and you put the exercises that I share within the presentation into practice. As a result of doing so, it's going to help you upstairs. You're going to become more motivated. And if you're in a better psychological state, that means your actions will reflect that. If your mind is good, your actions are going to be good. And if your actions are good, you're going to make quick progress and achieve the goals that you want to achieve.